Okay, it is 3 o'clock. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Dori Soukup, founder of Inspiration Management. And with me today are two very special guests I have here for you. And they are Jaclyn actually is in Florida and Austin is in Texas. And both of them have so much knowledge to share with you today. So I'm super excited to have them as my guests. So it's Jaclyn Peresetsky and Austin Podowski. Jaclyn is with SkinPerfect Academy and Austin is with Synergy M.A.P.S. So today we are going to discuss how to maximize revenue through your aesthetic department. So it is business unusual right now, right? So we need to take this time that we are down to actually sharpen up our skills and train our team and fine tune our business model so we can generate as much revenue as possible once we relaunch. So the reason we wanted to do this event, it's part of the M.A.P.S series that we're doing. And the reason we wanted to do it is to help you address challenges that you are faced with as far as your aesthetic department is concerned. So one of the things that we come across often is not enough recommendations are being done. So we're leaving a lot of money on the table. They don't necessarily have a recommendation even system to follow so the team can learn from it and follow it to have consistent performance. There are no consequences. So if somebody does not do what they need to be doing, they just get to keep their job. That's nice. And then all that leads to shrinking profits for the owners themselves. So this event here is ideal for owners that want to improve their actual aesthetic department. So here's what we're gonna go over, and I am super excited about this content because if you follow it, you're gonna totally transform the way you do business. So the first thing I'm very excited about sharing with you is actually the revenue potential that you can actually generate from that department. So I'm gonna show you different models to show you what you're missing out on. And then second, we're gonna go over 4 steps to maximize that revenue. So the first step is, of course, has to do with selecting the right team members. Number 2 is going to be how important it is to have advanced education for both aesthetic and business for your team. The third is what can you do to your menu to tweak it a little bit, and how important it is to have the proper protocols and tools that your team needs to actually maximize the revenue. And number 4 is going to be talking about the recommendation system and process that you can have in place. And then we're gonna wrap up with rewards and continued success. So those of you who are live with us today, by the way, we have people from all over the world. We have been maxing out our Zoom platform when we do these public webinars as part of the M.A.P.S series. So for you to go and check out all the M.A.P.S webinars we've been doing, you can go to globalmedspa-association.com, and there you're gonna see all the webinars that we've been doing as part of the M.A.P.S series. So I came up with M.A.P.S as soon as the coronavirus hit. I knew that I had to do something to engage everybody and help everybody in the industry as well as our members. And that's when we came up with the M.A.P.S system. So since that webinar, we've done so many other ones, and we continue to do more to help you navigate through the coronavirus, minimize disruptions, and come up with a relaunching plan. So I'm very excited about a couple of upcoming webinars you definitely don't want to miss. I just want to mention these before we dive in today because they are very valuable for your success. Number 1 is on Wednesday, this Wednesday, I'm doing the We Dare system. So this is a system that I just came up with to help you and your team come up with online consultations. And I'm going to be sharing some examples with you from some of our members, literally making thousands of dollars right now doing online consultations. So I'm doing a preview of that system on Wednesday for you. So this is a public complimentary webinar you can attend. The next one, and this is something we've been working with also with our mastermind members, is effective webinars. How to do webinars to your consumers, to your clients engage them, and then again, help them buy things from you that are needed for them. And then the third thing is I just did this one on Friday, actually. It's a book gathering with Dori. As you know, I published my third book, and we're doing every Friday. As a matter of fact, I think I have a slide here for it. Every Friday, we're doing one part of the book. So if you don't have the book already, you can go on Amazon, and we just reduced the price to $1. So you can go buy the book for $1, or you can download it from our website for free, and you get to join us for the book gathering, where I can answer questions, discuss things with you, whatever you want. It's your time. So it's every Friday at 2 p.m. So to gain access to all this, just go to globalmedspaassociation.com. This is a nonprofit that I'm starting, and you'll be able to actually see all of them there. All right, so that was my little announcement to keep everybody posted on what's going on with the M.A.P.S webinars and everything. So I would like to start now by having Jaclyn. I've known Jaclyn, oh my goodness, I don't know how many years now. We still do speak at many conferences. She's a great speaker, by the way. She's gorgeous. She's a med spa owner, so she's one of you. And not too long ago, she decided she's quite an entrepreneur. So as if she didn't have enough to do, she decided to go ahead and open up a school, SkinPerfect Academy in Ohio. So she lives in Naples part of the time. That's where her 2 med spas are in Florida, which she is right now. And then she has her school in Ohio. And then, of course, Austin, who I've also known for a few years now. He's like Mr. Suave. Synergy MedSales. He's amazing. He's quite an entrepreneur as well. So I'm going to let them tell you a little bit about themselves, and then we'll dive right into our content for today. So ladies first, Jaclyn, you want to tell people a little more about you?
Sure. Well, Jaclyn Peresetsky. I started SkinPerfect Spas in 2007 after working for plastic surgery practices. And then I've had SkinPerfect for many, many years, started Color Me Perfect Cosmetics. So that is our current mineral makeup line that we sell and wholesale to other spas across the country. And I developed a patent pending color system so we can analyze our clients' undertones and recommend the perfect makeup color and custom blend their foundation. And then, like Dori said, not to make it even more complicated, I decided to open SkinPerfect Academy because I wanted to take the training system that I used for my spas and teach other spas how to maximize their aesthetic departments, because that's the biggest issue I see where spas struggle is they feel that they have estheticians or skincare practitioners. They need more advanced education or better systems to maximize their revenue and be able to really build their spa so it's successful. So now I'm in the taking my experience in teaching mode, which I really enjoy.
Yep. And by the way, Jaclyn is a mastermind member. She's been a member for a while. She's been to Leap Ahead, I don't know how many times.
And I learn something new every time.
Every time, yeah. So she's wonderful, and she's going to share a lot of great insight with you today. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Jaclyn. Austin, you want to tell everybody about you? Austin is a new daddy.
I'm a new daddy twice over. So I have a beautiful 3-year-old and a 3-month-old. So we're in the 3s right now.
Right.
Which is very fun. But Dori, thank you so much for having me on. Always a pleasure to follow your content and to engage with you and work with you at industry events and work together with clients as they build out their businesses. Jaclyn, congratulations on your success. I look forward to working closer with you as well. I'm certainly interested to hear more about the color tone system that you've created. I think that's very innovative and unique, and you have to do those special programs and that channeling to customers and think different than other med spas out there. So that's super smart. So myself, I got involved in medical sales about a decade ago, originally in disposable equipment and durable equipment, which is becoming a resource right now for some of the state departments and federal departments out there in need of masks and gloves, where I started. But Synergy MedSales was kind of birthed out of a foundational need for people to get access to special use aesthetic devices and equipment at a significant or reduced savings. Oftentimes in the market, in the daunting market of medical aesthetics, you can find that you're looking at well over $250,000 investment into capital equipment to start your med spa. And I think that is not the case. And Synergy really focuses on helping stair step and build med spas to the best that they can be in due time and grow into equipment versus over investing into equipment. So we have that going on. We also have a innovative product that does imaging for before and after skin analysis called the Optic. We've recently launched a holographic company, which I have here behind me. We're about to launch a really cool iPad application that allows you to capture a before and after and project that in hologram as well as onto the TV, do annotation, client files, EMR, the whole nine. So that's what we've been working on. But in this time, we really wanted to jump on and speak to you how you might be able to engage with your consumer in a different way and look at imaging and look at, really reassessing your menu of services. So that's me. Thanks for having me on, Dori.
You're welcome. Great to have you both. It's always a pleasure to meet up with other experts. And I think most people know me on here, but there are few new community members on. In case you don't know who I am a global speaker, an author, and a business advisor, and I love marketing and helping people set up their entire business model. I run the mastermind group that we have, which contains many members from all over the country, all over the world, actually. And we focus on building the business and making it better so it runs on autopilot and you don't have to be there to be running it. That's really my whole purpose. So join me for that book gathering, though. It'll be a lot of fun to actually be together on that so you get to know me a little bit better. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the aesthetic department and what's going on with it right now and the type of aesthetic department that you can actually have. So there's really 3 different ways for an esthetician to get a position these days. She can either work, or he, in a medical spa, in a physician's office, maybe with a couple of aesthetic rooms, and or the day spa. So those are really the different ways to work. Now, because of legalities, I want to definitely give you a little advice here that's very important. Excuse me. And that is to check with your states before we start developing new treatments and menu items. We want to make sure that our aestheticians can actually do these treatments based on the state that you're in, like who can do lasers, who can do microneedling, who can do microdermabrasions or whatever, all the different things. So if you need help with that, we do have an attorney that we work with that you can contact and help you determine who can do what, because you definitely want to stay legal. All right, here she is again. She came back.
Sorry.
All right. Now, this is Jaclyn and I were talking about this slide. This slide, you guys, is the most important thing to really get you excited on the opportunities that you have. So I'm just going to take a minute to explain it to you. Then I'm going to have Jaclyn dive in and talk about it a little bit more with the next few slides. So here's what I did for you. Let's assume your room only operates at 50% of its capacity. So if you're open, let's say 10 hours a day, you're only busy, let's say 5 hours out of those 10 hours. So that's 50% capacity. And let's say that you have 217 hours available in a month. So I calculated this under one room to show you the potential by room. So if we did 50% capacity, that's 108 clients. And if we averaged our facial at 125 per facial, for that 108 facials, we would do 13,531 from that one room. Now look at the exciting part. Instead of 125, if we did $225 average per facial, then we're gonna make $24,356. And that's only at 50% capacity still, you guys. And then if you do $350 a facial, now we're talking just treatments, not even including retail. I didn't even take it to that level, which we should. So that's $350 a facial. That's $37,000 a month from just doing facials in one room. That's the potential that you have. So what I would like you to do, this is your homework, those of you who are with us, because here it's all about maximizing that revenue. So I'd like you to take this. As a matter of fact, we can send you this Excel spreadsheet and you can calculate it for every department. As a matter of fact, the principles that we are going to share with you today are really can be applicable to every department, but here we're just talking about aesthetics. So you need to know these numbers. And as an owner, as a med spa owner, and Jaclyn is one of those people just like you. And when you look at this, so what are you willing to do right now to take your revenue from, let's say, the 13,000 to 37,000? And to add retail on top of it, I have to brag about one of our members, Estique Med Spa. They have an esthetician, her name is Jerry. And we've been going through the don't sell, recommend. And I asked everybody to figure out their VPGs, their volume per guest. And Jerry's retail volume is $125 a person for retail. And her VPG volume for treatment is close to $300. Now that's an excellent esthetician, right? Wow. That's amazing. So what we want to do is how can we take this and make it a reality? How can we generate $37,000 from a room? How can we do that? Well, as what Jaclyn does is all done through education. Can you bring in some information on this, Jaclyn, from your standpoint, as far as like, what do you see the estheticians coming out of school like, or even the ones that are experienced from your school? What are you finding out? How can we help them be better?
Sure. Well, the esthetician's productivity is purely on confidence and motivation. That's the two factors that I see with any esthetician. The ones that are graduating from school, they are really struggling with what we call real life aesthetics. Like they were taught one way in school, and then now they're in maybe working for your company, and your company, you have expectations, you want them to meet their sales goals, but they don't have the confident tools. They don't understand the skin from biologically. They have like that, what I call surface understanding. They have no, none of the anatomy really down to understand, because most of the med spas, they're using, very active medical grade products, and also the clients that are coming in the door, they're expecting to see a difference in their skin. And now with even day spas though, they can struggle because sometimes they struggle in just client connection. So we like to take each student, kind of see where their weaknesses are. And then we try to customize the course when they do an in-person course with us. But also what I find is all spas need to get estheticians. So if you have from 2 to 5 to 6 on the same level, because one esthetician is going to carry your whole spa, and it should be all, say if you have 6, all 6 carrying that spa. And that's probably what I see in every spa. That's most of the problem, that dynamic is like 1 or 2 estheticians is making it happen and these other 4 are not. So we introduced different systems to the spas to help them get every single one of their esthetician to that level.
Mm-hmm. So selecting that team is probably, to me, is the most important. So like you said, you can't have only a couple people carry. So everybody on the team has to really do a great job. So what do you recommend for them? Like when they do, let's say somebody did hire someone new, or they could have worked somewhere. Mm-hmm. What would be the practice? What would be the advice to give people on like that whole advanced education?
So we tell them to put them on our boot camp, our 8-week immersion system. It's a program that whenever you hire someone, it's 8 weeks all done online, and it assesses where they're at. And then it also teaches them all these different pillars, starting from sanitation to skin biology to client connection. It's teaching them all the different skin modalities and therapies they need to know. It's teaching them ingredients and retail. So once they graduate from this 8-week program, then they take a test at the end. Then we can assess, do they need further training, or do you want to continue to invest in them? You know, so it's allowing you to see very quickly within that 8 weeks where they should be or where the possibilities are for them.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so these are the 4 things we're gonna go through. Let's talk about the first one, the team. Before we even decide on whether they're the people for us, if we're hiring someone new, you should assess who you have now. And one of the things we teach is to rate your team on A, B, and C. So A are your superstars, the B are so-so, and then the C are your average. So what we want to do is see, who do you have on your team now? And by the way, this is a great time to recruit because a lot of people laid a lot of people off. So this is the time. So this is the time to really start recruiting and finding those gems that may have been let go because they couldn't be someplace else, and start training them and developing them into becoming those diamonds for your actual team. So once you do that, then you just setting up that whole training component. So if I was hiring, or if anybody on this panel was hiring people, there are some things that we should really look for, because not all estheticians are created equally, right? So these are some of the things that you should assess your current team on, and these are the things that you should be hiring people on. So if we were to take a couple of your estheticians as an example, since you have an aesthetic department, so what would you say are some of the most important qualities that you look for when you're recruiting someone new?
The great communicator. I think that's huge, because if they can't communicate with your coworkers in a professional setting, and they can't communicate to clients, and they just, what I call, show up, those people are never going to be successful because they don't even have that in them. And then also that image. I think the image is a huge deal. And I'm really strict in SkinPerfect when our employees or our service providers come in, because you should be setting the bar high for your clients and really creating that desire for them to want to invest in their self-care and look and feel their best. And of course, their learning ability. Estheticians sometimes will have this different introverted type of personality, and you have to really find the balance that, yes, they are happy in that treatment room, but they also have to learn how to be an extrovert outside of the treatment room, to network, to do sales, because frankly, that's just part of the job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think all those things should really be discussed in the interview process. And even if you have a team right now that you're planning on keeping, I would recommend you reapplying or recommit to whatever it is that you want them to do moving forward once you reopen. I think that would be very, very important to do, and have that conversation about the whole mindset about the recommending process. As a matter of fact, we were just talking about that this morning with our mastermind members. We were doing team training with the Pride system, and we were talking about how important it is to have the proper mindset and to be able to make recommendations, because that's how you're going to be able to maximize your revenue. Because if they don't make recommendations, then all we are is order takers. The people are going to tell us what they want, and they come in, get what they want, and they leave. Well, that's not very smart. What we want instead, have them come in, we find out what they need, we make the recommendations for treatment, we make the recommendations for retail, for home care, and that's how we maximize revenue. So when you're interviewing or when you're assessing your team, they really need to be able to make recommendations. It's funny, I want to share a quick little story. I was speaking at a conference in Vegas not too long ago, and we were a panel actually discussing how important it is to recommend retail products. And this lady raises her hand in the back and says, Dori, I have a question. I said, sure. She says, I have these 2 great estheticians. They are amazing. The only thing is they don't recommend any home care products. And I just looked at her and I said, they are not great. They are not great because they're only doing half their job. So you as an owner, if you don't change your own mindset and think that somebody's great just because they can do a facial, but they can't recommend home care, they're not great. They are not great. So those are the things that you have to really make up your mind on and make the decisions on. Very, very important things. So anyway, I just thought that was a funny thing, how people think. Yeah, exactly. So as far as like advanced education, that's really what it's all about. Just like when you're a doctor, any other profession, you have to go to like continuing education, you have to get re-licensed, reactivated, whatever, lawyers, everybody. But in our industry, we require them to do maybe an hour here, an hour there. Well, we have to go beyond that, because if you truly want to be the best, you have got to invest in your team's education, clinical and business. So where do you go for that? So Jaclyn happens again to own that school. But again, we're not saying, oh, this is the only thing you can do. There are many ways that you can do your education, but we're trying to provide you some examples. So the first step really is, again, to assess your team, find out exactly where they are good, where they are bad, find out what clinical training they need, what business training they need, and then make that plan to launch and recover properly from this nightmare we're living in right now. So Miss Jaclyn was telling you a little bit about the Aesthetic Pro, but it really does take at least 8 weeks to call something advanced education, whether it's, you know, a course online, whether it's in person or whatever. So what exactly, I can tell you from a consumer standpoint, like if I'm going in for a facial somewhere, I can tell you what I expect from the person that's going to do my treatment. But when we give them the confidence and the knowledge to go through something like this, it's like a total transformation. Can you share with us, Jaclyn, some success stories of like people that came to you, what they were able to accomplish, how much more they increased revenue when they went back to work, how much happier the owner was? Just give people an idea of how further education, advanced education can improve and maximize that department's revenue.
Sure. When they come to us, one of the things that owners really love is that we assess them before we begin the course. So we're really understanding what level is that esthetician at.
You're freezing on us. We might be losing her internet. So, well, I can tell you a lot of success stories for people that have done advanced education for people and what they were actually able to accomplish. I mean, I've had clients.
Did I lose you?
Yes,
I'm back.
here you are. You're back. That's okay.
So
Go
sorry.
ahead. No worries.
So we want to assess them and then really give the spa owner feedback, kind of where we see that the esthetician is currently in. So then when they come in for the course, we can customize it. So if they're going to be in our facility 2 or 3 days, we are really customizing that course to meet that group of students where their weaknesses are. And oftentimes it's lack of knowledge for sure. It's lack of self-confidence, their surface understanding. They don't understand what I call the why. And therefore, when they're with the client can kind of almost sense that they're not sure. And clients, I always say, they will call you out so quick. And one of the most valuable things you can do is teach a client something they did not know before. So when that service provider is doing a service, and for example, say they're saying, oh, my skin is really oily. Oh, okay, well, when did that begin? Oh, a couple weeks ago. Okay, well, is there anything different that you may have changed? Tell me about what you do every morning, every night. The client will say, oh, well, I'm using my Clarisonic brush. Oh, well, how often? Every day. Oh, well, that's probably why you're getting oily. When did you start doing that? 2 weeks ago. Voila. And then the client's like, oh, you figured it out. You're a genius. And they're hooked. And then that client will be faithful to that skincare provider in that spa. So then when the students get through with their courses and they go back to the spas, they get the continuing support, just like you do with Inspiration, Dori. And they're getting that, like all the little questions answered as they're implementing everything they learned, and they're increasing their revenue by 50% within the first 2 weeks. So they're so excited. They have a renewed sense of confidence, and then they set goals to what future trainings they want to do. But the biggest thing is to see the results from what they learned, and we're definitely seeing that. So it's, I love owning a spa, but helping others really excel in their own spas has been even more rewarding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, there's nothing like education, that's for sure. That's amazing to be going up that much. That's
Yes.
awesome. Yeah. So the recommendation process is key, you guys. And I mentioned to you that I'm doing this because now we have to take things online because of the way we are. We're not all open. So I wanted to tell you that even now you can still be making money. This is one of our mastermind members. Actually, she just sent me this picture on Friday after they finished their consultations that we taught them how to do online with the We Dare system. This is the system I'm going to be going over with you on Wednesday, by the way. You definitely want to see that. So they had done over $4,500 in sales doing online consultations, and that's her shipping all the products out. Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
Excellent.
This is what they're doing now. This is what our members are doing now. They're generating thousands and thousands of dollars just doing online consultations using the We Dare system that we taught them. So if they can do that, no matter when, you can get your estheticians working now. They can be doing online consultations and start practicing the things that we're teaching them now so they can bring you some revenue right now. So this is a great educational program for them to actually still generate money for you. That would be huge, huge. So as far as the clinical education, that's a must. That's what's going to give them the confidence that Jaclyn was talking about. So we also need to do the business education, which we're the specialists about. But there are so many things to teach your team that right now they may be leaving on the table. So being able to make recommendations for both treatments and retail to maximize the revenue, reserving the next appointment. We need to teach them how to do that, believe it or not, because they don't think about it. Asking for referrals and reviews. We don't get enough of those. We need to teach them. And then how to generate revenue. It's not just about doing the facial. You have bills to pay as an owner. So if we don't teach them the business aspect of the business and why it's important to generate revenue and teach them those systems, then they're not going to do anything.
And Dori, if I can chime in on that, I have people that when they, estheticians that worked for me, and we offer tips, like they get gratuity. And what they would do is they would be so focused on the service and getting their gratuity, they wouldn't even think about product sales.
Yeah.
And those people, you have to let them go because they will never change.
Yeah, exactly. I like that. Let them go.
Done.
They'll never change.
Sorry, negativity.
No, but it's true. If they're gonna drag you down and not help you produce money, then that's not a good thing.
They're more self-aware and not team aware, and that hurts your entire team if they're not doing team goals or individual product goals.
Exactly. So this picture of dermaplaning reminds me of a way to actually sell people on an upgrade with that one. So let's say you're doing a facial and you're noticing that their skin can definitely use that treatment. And I ask everybody to take a black napkin and say, you know what, Jaclyn, I'm looking at your skin here with the magnifying lamp, and I could really see that you could use some better exfoliation and some removal of the little fuzziness. So I just want to show you what this treatment will do. So if you just take it and you just scrape a little bit around the nose or the chin or whatever, and then you wipe it on the black napkin and show them, I know
That's fantastic.
I know, isn't it? Just that alone. And then all they have to do is this. This is what I was teaching everybody earlier today. Then all you have to say is, for a difference of $35 or $50 or whatever amount is, I can go ahead and do this treatment with your facial. So let's go ahead and do both. And you just increased your revenue by whatever amount you charge for that treatment. So they have to do these things. And that's what I mean by teaching them not just the clinical, but also the business. Because if you don't teach them that, they're not going to think about it by themselves. They're just not.
No.
So we need to do that. So let's talk a little bit about the menu and how can we freshen up, because I've been trying to teach all the mastermind members that we need to relaunch big. We need to like come back huge and do it in a way where we want to introduce nice things, maybe some new things on the menu, maybe do things a little bit differently, come up with something that you're going to host an event and relaunch, reopen, do a grand opening.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk a little bit about some treatments, what you're seeing in your med spa, Jaclyn, and then of course, Austin, because you're all, I mean, you know about all the different equipment. So what tips can we give them that they can introduce into their menu and be able to generate revenue from it?
Well, and I'm sure Austin can attest to this, but Austin, we always start, first of all, we have to start with a picture of their skin. And then we're able to recommend a lot of different skin technologies, but the skin technology is only as good as the esthetician understanding if it's going to work for that client's skin. And so people will go and they'll buy 25, 30 different machines, but they really don't know how to execute it. So I think the knowledge and starting kind of with the picture and really understanding the technology and the purpose. So when the client invests in that technology and those treatments, they're seeing the difference, because then you build upon that. But what I'm sure, Dori, you probably can say, there's people that will just every time something new comes out, they'll buy it, which you want them to bring on new technology, but more strategy, which is where Inspiration kind of helps with that, the business side of it. There has to be a strategy behind it. So we see, I mean, of course, microderm, hydromicroderm, oxygen will never go out of the industry. It's going to be an industry staple, as well as microcurrent, radio frequency. All of what you have listed, I think, are must-haves in the spa, but they have to know how to use it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's important, going back to the grading scale of personnel and staff in this uncertain time, if you will. So a lot of business owners, a lot of you on this cast today are having to look at your highest expenditures, and that's going to be your capital equipment, any leasing that you have, any rent, mortgage that you have, and then the next line item on the P&L is going to be your payroll. And I feel like a lot of our clients, when this first started to arise, looked at payroll first, and they looked at those C and B players on their team as to that's where the cut needs to be made first. And I want to say that that's not incorrect, but I do want to overcorrect that statement a little bit by explaining that you need to look at your technology and your menu of services first before you cut somebody who generates a revenue or generates a profit to your business that we might be able to help with the standardization of their intake and their consult to create a better result and better revenue out of. Let's look at that equipment that you're no longer using. Dozens and dozens of my clients have closets full of equipment, storage units full of equipment, and corners with equipment that is collecting dust. And it may have been relevant and ethical at the time, or producing an efficacious result at the time. They've moved on to the newer, latest, and greatest, and never traded up or traded out that equipment. So I think it's important to look at that menu of services and look at the technology. And so 2 points would be on menu of services. Number one, in this time, think about the services that can go with you. Think about a concierge medicine approach in this downtime where you can get out and get in front of your clients. Because even when you hit reentry, we get out of shelter in place, we get out of essential only, some of your more VIP clients may be fearful to still come to the spa, right? So the two things that you can do to combat that are, gearing up, getting a safe environment, PPE, and limiting the amount of people coming into the practice, which means you're going to have to generate more revenue from each person that visits the practice. Or two, creating a aesthetics go bag, if you will, where you can get out. And this is going to vary state to state, depending on regulation, how you're structured with your medical director, your insurance, et cetera. But getting out there and getting in front of the patient in home, right? So we're not going to be doing liposuction in the living room, right? But we could be offering some sort of an injection, a neurotoxin, a filler, and definitely a facial and some of those more spa-like services. So I would think about that first in regards to menu of services, just to start helping generate revenue now alongside that curbside pickup for skin retail and some of those mail orders. Right. I thought that picture of your client was fantastic, Dori. That's exactly what people need to be doing right now, is channeling their message, channeling those retail sales online and social media, et cetera, and shipping those care packages out to their patients that can't come into the spa. Outside of that, in regards to the menu of service, preparing for reentry, if you do have an obsolete device or something that hasn't been producing, revenue for you, hopefully your books are tailored in a way in which you can work with, your ops manager, your CFO, your accountant to find out, I paid $90,000 for this asset in 2016, and it has generated me X in revenue to date. The depreciation valuation on that on my balance sheet is this, and this is how much capital I have into this device. Well, is that capital that you want to go ahead and write off now and put toward good use in hiring one of the 24,000 medical professionals that are now on the job market? And that stat does compare some of the sales reps, some of the major layoffs that have happened, but a good portion of that count is from very talented and very skillful medical estheticians that are looking for work and could be an impact to your business. So look at that equipment that is generating the least amount of revenue and figure out if it's something that's easy enough to market, that you have pre-existing marketing for, that you could recirculate and run a campaign on, or give a freebie on, that's a low labor cost to you to perform the service, et cetera. Or if it's something that you just need to sell. I would also consider consolidating. There's a lot of multimodality platforms in the space now, whereas, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, especially, you had to have, an IPL in one room, a diode hair removal in one room, and then your RF technology in another room. All three of those components are blended into a single device now. So we can maximize the treatments being conducted per patient in each room of your med spa today by combining those technologies and getting into that multimodality platform. So I think that's really important. I think as far as trends, a lot of our client base has a patient base that was built around facial skincare and caring for the face. And a lot of med spas have a hard time making the move into body contouring or skin tightening, which is obviously extremely hot right now. Less people are going under the knife. Plastic surgeons are the highest users of non-invasive technology actually for body contouring and skin tightening. And that's something that you should be tapping into too, and can tap into in most states with your certifications and with your medical director. And those are procedures that you could be performing. And at the end of the day, to be able to help perfect the finest contour detail, the smallest amount of cellulite dimple, is so impactful, because it's not just the outward appearance and how you're projecting yourself, to the community with your clothes on and in your face, but it's also how you feel when you take your clothes off at home and maybe how your significant
and who's
other
looking at you.
Exactly. So look, if you can give me one more ripple, in my abdomen, I'm about it, right? If you give me one more volumetric lift in the bicep,
I need some ripples.
And we want to get rid of the dimples, and that's what's
no dimples. They're cute on the face.
Hey,
remember
here.
There you go.
I like them on the
Jaclyn.
face.
Beautiful.
I know.
Yeah, so I think you got to look at your menu of services and cut the flack, cut the underperforming services, cut what your team isn't selling effectively. I mean, we've got clients that will go buy a $175,000 muscle toning device, and they're estheticians who went to school to practice aesthetics on the face have no idea how to sell a body contouring system, right? So even though they
wonder why they're not making any money.
100%. Yeah, they've got a $2,000, $2,500 a month payment on that asset, and nobody that knows how to effectively sell it, right? So
I've seen cool sculpting in a closet.
Yes.
Yeah, if you want a cool sculpting, I sell you a cool sculpting today for probably sub $20,000 if you're looking for one. I mean, you know, it's just there's 8,000 of those in the US. 8,000.
And they're selling them too. They're telling them, oh, it's not enough to have one. You need two.
Cool sculpting. Yeah. Now, and people are still successful with that, but also you on that point of cool sculpting, let's get innovative. Let's take this downtime to be creative, and let's think about a fire and ice package. Okay. We're going to take, you know, a older dated technology like cryolipolysis, and we're going to pair it with a new hot RF, you know, HIFU body contouring treatment. We're going to brand that fire and ice, push that into the marketplace, and get a reinsurgent of that patient base. Hey, you're at home eating potato chips and drinking wine because you're not leaving your house. Let's blast that fat. Let's get you on this regimen when we get back to reentry here.
Yeah,
so,
I love that.
Exactly.
That's great.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of things.
That's why you guys need to call up Austin and he can tell you, just so you know, because I don't get that from the conversation, but Austin actually has a huge building actually in Austin, Texas, right?
Dallas. Austin
I'm sorry,
and Dallas.
I always confused the two, Austin and Dallas. So Dallas. And they have this huge building, and his specialty is actually dealing with equipment from every type of equipment. And that's what I like about talking with him, is that he's not loyal to just one type of manufacturer. He can actually give you the true opinion of what works and what doesn't, and how you can get the best value for it. Because you can go and buy brand new equipment, but if you can buy it pre-owned and save you some money, especially these days, and be able to offer the treatment and have the necessary warranties or things that you need, then you definitely need to reach out to Austin. I'll have his contact information at the end that you can reach out. But he's a wealth of information when it comes to what's a good equipment, what's not, how can you price it, and we work together with him to come up with the menu for the clients, and then be able to really launch something that's really good and that's going to be profitable for you.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And one quick note there, in being, you know, as empathetic as possible, for those of you that might be suffering, that have recently started or have been in business year over year, that do have that obsolete equipment. Again, before you look to your staff, and I do encourage you to look at those C players, before you look at those B and A players on that payroll, do call us. We're capitalized. We're purchasing equipment every day. I have trucks with full-blown PPE hazmat suits of our staff going in and picking up this equipment and refurbishing it and reselling it. So if you're in a tight spot, you've got some gear that's sitting, we also do pay cash for that pre-owned equipment. We don't just sell.
Yeah. Very nice. Thank you for clarifying that point too, because somebody might definitely need something just like that now. So thank you. And so to continue on with the whole training thing, the advanced training, one of my big thing is to always have all your training in writing. You should have it like in a manual so they can learn from it, and you can test them before they actually go to do the treatment on people. So you're testing them on the system to recommend, you're testing them on the treatment skills, the product skills, knowledge, the protocols, so they know exactly what they need to do, and that you are consistent. Because when you're consistent, you're gonna have great high retention rate. If you're not consistent, or the team is doing whatever they want, it's like the wild, wild west, then that's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get more results like the wild, wild west, instead of consistent results to help you make what 37,000 we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Very important thing to keep in mind. So all right, let's talk about the tools that you need besides the manual and the protocols. Now, if you are serious about having a productive center, a productive med spa, whatever you have, wellness center, aesthetic department, you definitely need a skin analysis equipment. Because you can tell somebody until they're blue in the face what they need, but there's nothing like them seeing what's wrong. And then you make the customized program for both treatments and home care. And it's all done through the analysis equipment, you guys. So if you don't have that, To me, that would be an essential tool to be able to generate $37,000 a month. So you need to ask yourself that question. If you don't have one, is it worth it for me to invest to be able to make that kind of money in the future once I reopen? So having an analysis equipment is definitely key. It's one of the things I always try to get people to do. Now, there are several different analysis equipment. They come from all over price range. Actually, Austin, why don't you tell them a little bit about all
Sure.
the different ones and the ranges
So
and different ones?
absolutely. I'm going to kick it off first with the most basic, easiest thing you could be doing for before and after. So I'm going to hit you guys with a selfie. Okay. Add that to our social media later. Another acronym for you is ABM, always be marketing. Not always be just closing, but always be marketing.
That's right.
Especially in this time, content, content, content. Learn that best from Dori. So the power of imaging is immense. You could be using your iPhone. You could be using an iPad. You could be using any kind of snap and go camera from Best Buy. Or a high-end DSLR to be doing your before and after. But what is important about a tool that encompasses everything together, like our product, the Optic Slim, or our competitor's product, the Canfield Visia, et cetera, is that it not only allows you to capture a standardized light before and after, we also get to use enhanced lighting with UV technology, ultraviolet technology. You remember Woods lamps that you were taught in aesthetic school to help predict sun damage, UV damage. Very important tool in the upsell of IPL, peels, etc. And so a product like the Optic Slim will encompass that UV light into the standardization, but it'll also help in that upsell. So if we're talking about increasing to, $37,000 per room, how are we going to do this in this downturn of lower patient volume? Well, we have to be getting more revenue per patient. And how else are you going to do that unless you can standardize the consult? So that's where you can take that C player, that B player, and give them a tool like the Optic that helps them sell for you, right? Where we can take a photo and we can get a skin score. Based on that skin score, we've uploaded your unique menu of services that will auto-populate recommendations based on that skin score, and or you can go in and manually add that recommendation there. That gives the patient a couple of different things. It gives them the parameters to be able to actually be educated on their skin condition with you, and the skin condition that may be naked to the human eye, and it makes an educational experience. Number two, it allows them to see prices and see you start to build a treatment menu and get an idea around pricing before you actually price quote them. So we quote them higher, we close them lower, but we're getting a higher return, right? So that's very important to build into your process. And through a product like the Optic Slim, which I do encourage you guys to check out our demo, is a great tool to help carry the consult process through the streamlined standardization of before and after, consult on before and after, and product recommendation. Again, recommendation, 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 as Dori said. That's how we're going to get to that $37K, whether we're charging $150 for a facial, we're charging $355 for a facial. Oftentimes with recommendations, you can also put a $150 facial and pair it with a booster or with a secondary ancillary service that the patient may not have known they were a candidate for, and get them up to that $355 mark in that consult. So I think that's why imaging is very important. Of course, I'm not biased, even though we do bring Optic Slim to the market. We sell Canfield Visia's pre-owned, we sell Photo Finder, we sell Quantum Care, we sell all of the relevant before and after technologies. And we're working on a secondary application that we'll be launching later this year as well. So again, I would say, as long as you are taking before and afters, that's great. There's definitely some tips and tools and tricks to be doing that correctly. But you should really look at making the investment now into something that does UV and does product recommendation. It is like having a salesperson at 1/4 the cost, So if you're looking at payroll, hire the Optic Slim to increase sales for you, and you're not going to have to pay for health insurance. You're not going to have to worry about, going out of business or having your doors closed for 4 weeks to hurt your revenue, because this is going to be an increase to that per patient revenue. Those VPGs, as Dori had mentioned earlier.
Great, thank you. So needless to say, it's important to have a skin analysis system, you guys. So once you have that, when you pair it with the Pride system that we teach, now you have an entire formula of how you can reach that 37,000. One point I wanted to make that Austin was bringing up, the 37,000 does not have to be generated from you offering $350 facials, right? That 337,000 can be generated by having your facial be, let's say, 180, and then have the upgrade opportunities to bring it to a customized facial so you can generate the 300 and something. So keep that in mind. I'm not telling you to just go and start charging $350 for your facials on your menu. I'm telling you to make recommendations to bring you up to that number. I just wanted to clarify that point.
But if there was ever an opportunity to charge more for a facial, private facials, private experiences with lower patient volume, I mean, that's something you could certainly also be taking advantage of.
Customize. But I mean, there are so many different ways to skin the cat, you guys. There are so many options here. There are so many opportunities for you. It's just a matter of
peel the skin back.
Doing it. Oh, anyway, I shouldn't have used that statement.
CO2s would be great right now with all this downtime.
I keep losing. Jaclyn keeps fading in and out here.
I know. I don't know why.
I think it's your internet.
I know. We must have issues.
Anyway, there is one product you should definitely have in your success library. And I'm not telling you this to sell you. I could care less really whether you buy it or not. It's just something that's going to help you. And it's definitely a system that once you implement, you can make a lot more money. The example that I used with you earlier, Jerry's team that she's on, when we first started working with them, their retail VPG was non-existing. And now Jerry and the rest of her department are averaging like in the hundreds of retail using the Pride system. So you can definitely make a lot more money. I highly encourage you to tap into it. So, all right, let's talk a little bit about the whole buy-in. Why should they want to do all this? Why do they need to go to more training and more training and more training? So we have to show them really what's in it for them. And I did this exercise last week. I asked the team members from my mastermind group to tell me how much revenue they could be generating, how much income they could be generating from making recommendations and retail sales. And you know, not many people could tell me how much more money they can make. So we took the calculator and we actually worked it out. And tapping into these opportunities, you can show your estheticians that they could make $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 more a year by fulfilling their professional obligation and actually making recommendations. But right now, they're just, a lot of them, I should say, are order takers. They're just doing whatever the people order. Well, we want to shift that. We want to shift the mindset. We want to shift the philosophy, and we want to show them what's in it for them. And when you show them that and they buy in on it, now you're smooth sailing. You're going to be able to generate that kind of revenue from your department. But if you just go to them and say, I want you to do this from now on, and not give them the reasons as why you want me to do this, what's in it for me, then you're missing out on the whole idea. So showing them the amount of money they can make and then fulfilling their professional obligations so they can truly help people. So those are all important things to really do to make sure that you're on the right track. Now, lastly, I mentioned that there are no consequences. So when you launch this whole program, when you go back, you really need to launch with rewards and consequences. So you have your targets, and when you reach your target, here's the reward we need to make. And then if you don't reach your target month after month after month, and you're not applying what I'm teaching you, then there has to be consequences. So you need to have both of those things. And coming up with a great reward program is a wonderful thing to recognize people and make them feel special about what they're doing. Mm-hmm. So those are definitely things that you want to keep in mind. Anything you want to add to that, Jaclyn?
You know, what we do for our estheticians, if they meet their goals, I take them on a yoga trip. And it is the best like team building for estheticians because, you know, in the world of doing services, your service providers in general, we're always giving. and no one it's hard for us to refuel or take the time to refuel ourselves. So I offer that once a year, and it gives them something to look forward to. I try to do it in October because I know November, December are usually going to be strong retail months. And they really are excited about that. And they really try to reach their goals because that's this big, big thing that they look forward to. And one year we did Mexico, next year Costa Rica. So something like with a wow factor. Not only do you need that, like you said, you show them what you can increase and what you can make, what's in it for them, but even set a bigger goal that really makes them want to push and excel to reach it.
So that's a very good idea. What I would advise you to do is to do a survey to find out what excites your team members. So Jaclyn's team is into trips. Somebody else's team might be into something else. So do a little survey, find out exactly what is it that makes them excited and happy, wants them to work towards that one thing, and then launch it, and make sure you track the performance all the time, the whole year, if you're going to do it as an annual goal. And if you are going to do it, make sure it's part of your compensation model. Make sure that the amount of money you're going to spend on that trip is allocated in your compensation, so you're not going over your budget. So those are all things that definitely could be set up to get the team excited and get them to buy in, for sure. So that's great. So here's your action steps of what you need to do next, because I wanted you to walk away with some solid information here. So you're going to do your assessment, see who you want to keep, who needs to be separated from you, what needs to improve, and then give them that appropriate training based on what they need to improve. And then make sure you tie the compensation to performance. If you're not tying compensation to performance, then you're doing this wrong. You're never going to get your goal if you don't do that. And then always monitor and measure constantly. You can't not do that. And if you do these things and you apply the process that we just talked about, you're definitely going to increase your revenue. So just a couple of quick things. I want to remind everybody to go to the Global Med Spa Association. We're offering a complimentary membership now, and that's where you see all the webinars that we're offering. And if you're with us and you don't know exactly what you need to do right now, you can always set up a success planning session. You can go to inspirationmanagement.com homepage and set one up with one of our advisors. I wanted to give you both Austin's information and Jaclyn, if you want to take a picture of the slide, so you can reach out to them. Jaclyn, I did have a couple of questions for you. One of them was, do you give a certificate for the 8-week course?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Well, that's a nice thing. What do they get?
So for the 8 weeks, they get we'll have a certification for graduating the 8-week immersion skin biology program. And in that program, they're learning all the 8, what we call pillars of understanding skin and really doing well in the aesthetic room. And from everything from sanitation to all the different exfoliations, they get videos, they get to have a lot of content, photos, graphs, charts, everything that's going to give them those tools they need. And then after that, we like to offer them the Aesthetic Pro membership, so spas can continue offering education to the support, because once they go through 8 weeks, they still need to be pushed. They still need to be educated and constantly reinvigorated because they get bored.
Yeah.
So
actually,
it's
I have another question.
Is that online?
Yeah.
Sorry? That's his question.
Online.
I have a question from Sam asking if you have some online courses.
Yes. We have a full menu of online courses too.
Okay. So if they go to that, you can go to SkinPerfectUniversity.com and find out more about it, or you can go to that link also.
Yes.
Either way. So,
can I sign up for the yoga trip at that?
Austin, I'm going to have to give you sales goals. You got to meet your sales goals.
I work with KPIs well. I can do that.
Austin, I have a question here from James. He's asking do you also offer brand new equipment or only used equipment?
We do new. Absolutely. We consult on new. We offer new. It depends on what you're looking for, but from the standpoint of modality. But yes, we do new. Optic, the imaging product we sell, is new, as well as an array of other devices.
Yeah. And then there was one question here from Amanda. She's wondering how she would find the Don't Sell Recommend program, the Pride system. If you go to inspirationmanagement.com in the shop, you'll be able to find it right in there. Don't Sell Recommend. So it comes in a manual where it has all the scripts in it, and then it comes with the audio, so they can either hear it or listen or read it, either way. And those are the ways. So everybody has their information. So reach out. I highly recommend you reach out to them, you guys, especially if you're gonna make an investment in equipment. We have a lot of brand new people that are actually just opening up. I just did a floor plan actually the other day for somebody opening up. We have so many people that were in the middle of construction, middle of doing branding, and now things just are crazy. But professionals are there for you. I want you to remember you're not there alone. You have people here to help you. So make sure you reach out and help, gain help as you need it. So let's see, I think I have a couple more questions here. So
responding to a couple.
Oh,
of
you're
folks.
responding to, okay,
Yeah.
great.
And we have a great little offer. If I can
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to. I'm turning off already. I'm done. I'm ready for my wine.
It's time. Hey, in quarantine, it's 3 o'clock somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Not 5 o'clock.
Go ahead, Austin. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna let you guys know that we are doing a free biz and tech assessment report on your businesses right now. So again, whether you've been in business for 10 years or you're just starting out, you were considering starting a med spa, we're doing an assessment where we go through business metrics. We have great referral programs out to people like Inspiration Management and other services. But outside of that, we really kind of break down technology for you and give you a plan to success in the strategy of how to stair step into purchasing a technology without getting over your head. So if we are hit with another unprecedented time, you're not caught without the capital by which to afford your monthly operating costs. Mm-hmm. And outside of that, we're doing a mega sale on the Optic Slim. There's a 10% rebate right now. And we've just launched a very aggressive in-house finance program on that product. So do check us out, and we'd love to be of service.
No, somebody's asking if the warranty would be valid in Canada.
Absolutely. Wait,
well, we don't.
No, I'm joking.
What did they say? We like Canadians.
Absolutely.
We like the whole world. We have people on the webinar today from Spain, from London, from France, from Japan. I mean, we have people from all over. It's amazing.
We actually do a lot of work in Canada, a lot of work in Toronto and Vancouver. So absolutely, we go up there often for the ESI shows with Dori, which unfortunately have been canceled. But yes.
So you guys, make sure you go and watch all the webinars. Make sure you join me Friday for the book gathering. And again, if you don't have your book yet, you better go get it for $1 on Amazon. You can't beat that. So go do it so we can do the book gathering together. Well, it was
actually, I bought all the books. They're now $2 if you go to synergymedsales.com.
Thank you so much, both of you, for joining me today. This was fun. I hope we inspired people. And she left already, or she?
I'm here. Dimitri's calling me.
Oh, that's funny. So send him my love.
I will.
He has such a handsome husband. They make such a cute couple. They're like Ken and Barbie. So anyway, you guys, I want to wish everybody a great rest of the week. I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday for the We Dare seminar, or webinar, I should say. So I'm going to go over the entire online consultation so you can make thousands of dollars online with your team right now. There's no reason not to be making money right now. So thank you so much all for joining us. Thank you, Jaclyn and Austin, and I will see you soon. God bless. Stay safe.
Bye,
Stay
guys.
healthy.
Stay strong.
Bye.
Find your synergy. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.